Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new reading vlog. I'm sure I've added clips before this one from this morning. Today's Sunday, October 30th, but I don't know, maybe my allergies are acting up or it's a cold, but I had a really rough half day. I had to take some medicine and I took a nap. I'm feeling a lot better now, but in the beginning I was having like headaches and just not feeling great. So here we are. Anyway, I was just looking because the light is weird on that wall. Anyway, I wanted to introduce this vlog because I'm going grocery shopping in a moment, and then when I come back I want to sit down and actually read because I haven't done that. So last night I finished The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. I hope I can film a review tomorrow because I really love this book. I was gonna say this film. I really love this book. I think I talked about it either on my Instagram, something like that. I bought it on sale. I liked the cover. I read the blurb, which is in the inside cover, and I found it really intriguing because I didn't know if it was a fantasy or historical fiction, contemporary. I had no idea. The blurb is just very intriguing and I like that. I like not knowing, and I'm pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed this book. So hopefully I can film a review tomorrow, and if you're interested you can watch that. Now, October 30th. Tomorrow is Halloween and this is a long weekend for me. I'll go back to work on Wednesday, so I have Monday and Tuesday off. And I thought I would try and read something that would fit in victober because unfortunately I didn't have the opportunity to participate again this year. October is just a very busy month at the school, so it's really hard for me to read classics in October and be part of victober. I have no idea what the challenges are. I just picked up a book that fits, you know. I picked Cousin Henry by Anthony Trollope, and I showed you this book recently when I went to the book fair this past, I don't know, August, I think. It's on the short side, it's under 300 pages, the font is really big, the margins are really large, so hopefully I can read this between today and Tuesday, November 1st, and let's call it my victober read. As far as I can tell from the blurb, we are going to follow Henry, whose uncle passed away and left him his estate, apparently. Now, Henry is characterized as being an unattractive London insurance clerk. And apparently there's this other possible heir, Isabel, and they think Henry is an imposter. So some family drama. I love some family drama, so why not? Let's read this one. It is, as you can see, really short compared to other Victorian novels. And yeah, that's it for now. I just wanted to introduce the vlog. I'm going grocery shopping and I'll talk to you when I have an update of some sorts. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll talk to you soon. I don't know if you can hear that, but my neighbors are doing some sort of renovation, and I'm not sure if it's like kitchen or living room or whatever, and you can hear a lot of like construction noises during the day. So I'm sorry about that. I closed the living room door and I hope that helps. Anyway, it's the next morning. It's actually lunchtime. It's not the next morning, it's the next day. I tried updating you guys this morning, but it was very noisy in the morning and my cat was running around like crazy. And then I had to leave the house because my mom got here and we went to this clothes store that opened up today. And she knows the owner, so we wanted to go there and show our support and obviously see all the products and all of that. So I just got home and I want to start reading Cousin Henry again. So I read 2 chapters, not a lot as you can see. Literally 29 pages. I'm on chapter 3, and I have to say that this is not one of those over-complicated classics, in which the language and the sentence structure are just very complex, and sometimes you have to read the same sentence over and over again, just because it's just so old-fashioned. It's not one of those. It's actually really, really accessible. The writing is just very fluid and it's very easy to follow the narrative. So I'm enjoying that. Honestly, I wanted to read more yesterday, but it was already really late when I started. And considering that I was feeling under the weather for most of yesterday, I think that 2 chapters is pretty good progress. So so what can I tell you? So we start with Isabel, and I thought Isabel was going to show up later because she is mentioned in the blurb last, and I thought that we were going to focus on Cousin Henry. So that's not the case. It's interesting. I was caught off guard. We start with the squire, Isabel's uncle. I forget his name. It's a complicated name, actually. Not sure if I can actually pronounce it. Indiffer. It's just weird. I'm sorry. Indefer. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Okay, so he's a squire. He is a wealthy man, and he has this estate, right? So right now he's having some issues because he doesn't really know what to do with the estate. On the one hand, he wants to leave everything to Isabel because she's been living with him for the past few years. She's been there for him. She's been helping him, taking care of the estate, and just, she has kept him company all of these years. So he wants to leave everything to her. But at the same time, he wants to follow society standards. And I'm not sure if this was the law. It doesn't feel like it was because he says that it doesn't have to do it. If he does it, he'll do it because he wants to follow society standards. He wants to do what is considered right. And that is to leave everything to his male heir, in this case, his nephew, Henry. Now, Henry is not that well loved. Everybody in the estate, they don't really like him, and Isabel despises him. And so the uncle is, kind of in the pickle. I don't know what to do. The uncle is very confused about what to do with his money and fortune and, the estate and everything. So he has written several wills at this point. Sometimes he leaves everything to Isabel, then he thinks it over, changes again, leaves everything to Henry. He's really concerned with the fact that Isabel is not married. She doesn't have a house, and she doesn't have, the means to support herself, considering that she doesn't have a sort of a proper job. She's been helping him all of these years, so that's what she's been doing, but she's not earning any money. Her father remarried and he has his own family. Isabel's stepmother is not the biggest fan of hers, so she only goes there every now and then. It doesn't feel like they're going to support her or invite her to live with them again. So that's upsetting. But it doesn't seem like she's very concerned. She says it's fine. Whatever you choose to do, it's fine. It's your money, it's your estate. I'm fine with whatever. The uncle is feeling rather, confused and really in the jam. He doesn't know what to do. And he thought about getting them to marry each other, Isabel and Henry. But Isabel despises Henry. She just hates him. He apparently, as a child, he used to lie a lot, and when he grew up, it took him a while to actually, step up and be an adult. So he had a lot of debt, and his uncle helped him a lot. But apparently, he changed his ways. I'm not sure because we've been talking about him, but he hasn't shown up yet. So we don't know. I don't know if he's going to be an unlikable character or not. Regardless, I think it's really interesting that she can't even, Isabel can't even stand to be in the same room as him. Her uncle just said, I'm going to invite Henry over and he's going to stay here for a month or, at least a month. And she's like, oh, that's fine. I'll just go and visit my dad. And her uncle actually asked, like, what's your problem? Like, you can't even be in the same room as him. And she says, okay, fine, I'll stay for a week, but then I'll go to my dad's house. So she doesn't want anything to do with him. And, I'm sure we have someone in our lives like that. We have someone in our lives, family or not, that we just don't want to spend time with. In this case, a lot of us would think, okay, let me try and, I don't know, make amends, be friends with him, but she's not really concerned about the money. I'm not sure if this is just what she wants us to think, or rather what the writer wants us to think, and she's actually very concerned about her future. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's it. That's all I know for now. So I'm going to continue reading. I'm going to make something to eat. I just had like a late breakfast with my mom, but I'm still hungry because I woke up at like 7:30 and I ate like an hour ago. So it is lunchtime and I'm going to try and read as much as I can. I also want to film a book review for The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. So I'm going to try and do that, but I need to charge my camera. And there's my cat. It's super gloomy outside today. I think you can tell from the lighting. So I'll talk to you soon when I have another update. Hi guys, so I'm back. It's still Monday. I don't know, it's like 6:30 now. Yeah, almost 6:30. I just finished a Read With Me video. So Mel, I'll link her channel down below. She uploaded a video this past weekend, and it basically, I just love these videos. I don't know if you use them or not, but I just read for an hour and a half. And that is just so great, and it really motivated me to do it. So you read for half an hour and then you have a 10-minute break. You read for half an hour, you have a 10-minute break. So I read for an hour and a half. That's great. Like, I never have the time to just sit and read for such a long period of time. So when I have the time, I love using these videos because they're just, they just keep me motivated and I feel super productive. So I'm actually on page 96 now. I just finished page 96. I'm about to start chapter 9. This morning I was about to start chapter 3. So progress. This is progress. I believe that I can finish this book between today and tomorrow. Not today, definitely not today, but tomorrow for sure. I really want to finish it. I'm really enjoying it. I just love that I'm reading classics again. This is just so interesting. I need to change my position because I'm sitting on the couch and it's not very comfortable the way I'm sitting. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm really, really, really enjoying this book. Now, something happened that I forgot to mention. Yesterday, I found out that Isabel is actually in love with someone back where her father lives. I forgot the name of the place. And when he proposed the first time, she was supposed to be the heiress. And because of that, her uncle didn't think that he was a suitable option for her. So he said, like, yeah, if you get this date, you cannot marry him. And she decided to obviously Sorry, I got a message. She decided to do what her uncle wished because, he was giving her the estate. So she said no. Because her uncle said no, she said no. And she explained this to the guy, Owen, Mr. Owens. Mr. Owen or Mr. Owen, not sure if it has an S or not, I forgot. She went to visit her father and she met him again, which was very awkward. And he found out that she was not going to be the heiress anymore. So he proposed again. And she still said no, even though she loves him. But I understand her reasoning. She didn't want to say yes because, first of all, when she was supposedly rich, she said no. And now that she didn't have anything, like literally she didn't have a shilling to her name, she thought that it was wrong for her to sort of take advantage of this man because he lives by paycheck. And going to a marriage with nothing to offer would be wrong. That's how she looked at it. And I understand what she means. Also, I understand that other people might think that she only accepted to marry him because she was practically homeless. I mean, she'll go back to her parents, to her father's house, but since she's not very welcome there, stands a reason that she would want to get out of that situation and marry someone just because. So she, on the one hand, she doesn't really care about what other people think, but on the other hand, she doesn't want people to think ill of Mr. Owens, and I think that's very noble of her. And this situation, the society versus conscience situation, this is the same thing that happened with her uncle. So her uncle, wants to leave everything to her because he's conscious that she is suitable for the position. He loves her. She has done nothing wrong. She has helped him all these years. Everybody loves her. She knows all the tenants. She knows everything about the estate. But on the other hand, he felt like he had to follow society standards and leave everything to a male heir. So I understand, and I really like this contrast. I think that's just it's the whole focus of the book, and I think that's super interesting. So while she's there and she's about to refuse the marriage proposal for the second time, she got a telegram saying she needed to go back because her uncle was really sick. And that's when, after she got there, he passed away. And she learned from the housekeeper that her uncle changed his mind yet again after she left, and he did a new will with 2 tenants as witnesses. But the lawyer was not called upon because they were actually sort of arguing. The problem is no one knows where this last will is exactly. So they had to read the one that is the last known, last official one, in which everything is left to Henry. Even though everybody knows, and the 2 tenants that were called to be witnesses know that there is another will. So they have looked, everywhere. They can't find it. Now, what I like is that even though she's not a fan of Henry, she cannot believe that he would do something like stealing or hiding this last will just so she couldn't get the estate. And Henry is feeling very nervous at this point. Everybody's looking at him thinking, on the one hand, it is possible that he's just, sort of in shock. His uncle just passed away. On the other hand, maybe he's guilty. So, obviously, spoilers, he found the will. He found the will. Their uncle left the will in the middle of a book. This is such a bookworm thing for him to do. He was writing something important and he put it in the middle of a book and he forgot about it. So he knows because he saw his uncle with that book and he looked at it and it's there. It's in between the pages. Now, he was thinking about just coming clean and saying, look, I found the will. It's Isabel's estate. Like, it's fine. Because actually it doesn't feel comfortable there. And he stated that even if he gets the estate, he's not going to live at the house. He's going to go back to London because he can feel that no one likes him. So he's not going to be there and put up with that. On the other hand, because people have mistreated him a little bit, he decided that, you know what? I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not lying. I didn't steal it. I found it. But me not saying where it is, I've done nothing wrong. I have not sinned. And this is what I love. You know, as a Catholic, I love when people try to find loopholes or they try to justify when they do something wrong. When you are going out of your way to justify something that you know is wrong, it's probably wrong, you know? So this guy finds the will. He should come clean. He knows in his heart that he should come clean. But because people have mistreated him, the servants have mistreated him, his cousin doesn't want anything to do with him, she hates him, the tenants don't like him. He's like, I'm not doing anything wrong. They were not nice to me, so I don't have to be nice to them. Basically, this is what he's thinking. And so he is going out of his way trying to justify his actions to himself. He's not justifying this to anyone, which I love. He's trying to make himself feel better, even though he knows he's doing something that is incredibly wrong and immoral. And he claims that this is not sinning. And I love the fact that he's going out of his way to do that, because it proves exactly that. When you are going out of your way to justify your actions and trying to justify to yourself, make yourself believe that you're not doing anything wrong, that's when you're doing something wrong. And obviously everybody has been, you know, everybody has done this before. I've done this before. And it's really a struggle when you really have to admit, I'm doing something wrong. I need to come clean and I need to face the consequences. So right now I finished chapter 6. What? Right now I finished chapter 9. So the reading of the will. Isabel has left. There's this other problem. Her uncle left her like £4,000, but it has something to do with the property. It says, let me read it to you. Okay, he thought that legacies so made would be paid out of the property, whereas the property could be made subject to no such demand unless it had, by proper instrument to that effect, been charged with the amount. So he left £4,000, but because he didn't state it that they had to be paid out of the property, I believe, out of the profit that the property has, something like that. Because he didn't stated that, there's no actual money for Isabel. The people who were at the reading, they were like, oh, but I'm sure that Henry is going to fulfill his uncle's wishes. And it's like, yeah, sure, okay. But Isabel says no. She says she doesn't want anything from him, nothing at all. She really hates him. I understand that he's an unlikable character, but I'm still waiting for the real reason for all of this hate. Even though, because up until this really nasty thing that he did of finding the will and not coming clean, he just sounds like one of those cousins that for some reason you just don't get along. He has this, I don't know, way of conducting himself that you do not relate to probably, but she really hates him. And I don't know if there's like more to that or if it's just like natural hate. Like she looked at him and she was like, no, there's no way we're going to be friends. I've been talking for a little while, so I'm going to stop now and I'm going to do some chores. I need to have a shower. My hair is in a bun because I was out with my mom this morning and it was raining, and even though I had an umbrella, it was too much. I'm going to grab a shower and I'm going to get dinner ready and all of that. and then I'll read more after dinner and maybe give you an update on that, or maybe I'll talk to you tomorrow. I don't know. Good morning. It is the next day. So yesterday I read till chapter 9. So I'm actually starting chapter 10. I'm on page 108. So we got to spend some more time with Henry, really. He's not having a great time at the house. So Isabel left, and all the servants gave him their notice, so they're leaving. They don't want to work there anymore, and none of the tenants have been to the house to talk to him. He hasn't left the house. He hasn't left the book room. That's what they call it, the library, basically. The place where he knows the will is. So he's still considering what to do. He doesn't know if he can go back to London because he really doesn't want to be there. It doesn't feel right. He doesn't feel comfortable there. So he doesn't know if he should take the will with him, if he should destroy it, if he should hide it. He knows that the will cannot stay there. Like, it's too risky. But he's still thinking. And he's still justifying himself. He's still saying that I didn't do anything wrong. I'm okay. This is not a sin. And obviously, as a wonderful, ironic piece of symbolism, the will is, between the pages of a book. But it's not just any book. It is a book of sermons that his uncle used to read, because when his health began to deteriorate, his doctor advised him to not go to church because he could catch something there, a lot of people together. So he just read his sermons, his psalms, and all of that at home. And the will is between the pages of a book, like that. So the irony, we love to see it. So I'm about to have breakfast, and then I'll continue reading, and I'll give you an update soon. Okay, so it is much later now, 10 past 3 in the afternoon, and I've reached page 166, so halfway done. I'm enjoying it immensely. So I think I told you that obviously Henry is still struggling with knowing where the last official will is, and he hasn't decided what to do. So Isabel went back to her father's house, and she has told him that she does not plan on accepting any money from her cousin. Her father says that's ridiculous, and she has also stated that she is not going to marry Mr. Owen, not Owens, Owen. Again, no one really understands why. Now, obviously, I've told you that I understand her reasoning. She doesn't want to be a burden. She rejected the man when she was supposedly rich, and now that she is a burden on, because she doesn't have any, job or means to support herself, she doesn't want to be a burden to him, and she wants to go into this marriage with some money, but she does not want her cousin's money. So yeah, she's in a bit of a pickle. They had a lovely meeting, Isabel and Mr. Owen, in which they declared their love for each other. Isabel told him that she thinks her cousin did something wrong, so destroyed, or maybe, I don't know, put the will away, somehow kept it a secret. Mr. Owen was actually he was not a fan of that accusation. He said that you can't accuse people just because you think that the way they looked, because he was sweating and he looked very nervous, you can't just accuse people because of that. You can't just use that to accuse someone. And I think that he was right to say that, obviously. I understand where she's coming from, but at the same time, I understand that it is not correct to accuse someone solely based on how the person looked at the time. So he still says that he still wants to marry her. Like, he's not going to force her to take her cousin's money. They can marry even if she doesn't have any money, but she thinks that it is going to be a burden on him. They won't be happy because they will be constantly worried about money. They will maybe not starve, but go through some rough patches trying to feed their future children. So yeah, she's having a hard time back at her father's house. Her stepmother is not really happy with the whole thing of her not accepting the money, not marrying Mr. Owen. Like, she almost convinced her when she said that, so you are fine with coming here and be an extra burden on your father who has so many children to feed and educate, rather than taking the money and marry the person you love. She almost convinced her, but I understand her. I understand Isabel. I understand that she wants to do things the right way and not the way people expect her to do, but still, it's difficult. Henry, on the other hand, is now having some issues. So his whole thing about the will, not knowing what to do with the will, it's fine. He doesn't really, I mean, he cares, but at the same time, he thinks he has the time to ponder his possibilities. However, the city's newspaper has decided to print a number of articles against him, saying that people suspect of foul play, he destroyed the will, or he did something to the will, and they're using one of the witnesses from his uncle's, the last time his uncle changed the will, one of the tenants, the younger tenant, John Cantor, I think, he's being very vocal about it. He says that it doesn't make sense that a court of house would not take our word for it and just decide in favor of Isabel. Obviously, that's not possible. We need documents. We need to have something, physical to prove what you're saying. And because he's being very vocal, the newspaper is taking advantage of that, and he's using him. They're writing lots of articles against Henry. Basically, they're trying to make Henry come out of his house, come out of his hole that he has, that is where he's been hiding, and take him to court for libel. And they say that, well, if he doesn't come out and try to at least clear his name, clean his name, his reputation, then he's probably guilty. So the old squire's lawyer, who also doesn't believe that Henry is innocent, goes to the house and tells Henry that, well, I'll be a lawyer. I don't know if you want me to be a lawyer or not, but we are going to sue them, and you go to a court of house and you tell the truth. Now, Henry doesn't want this. He is very nervous, very anxious. He doesn't think he can do it. He can't just look at the other lawyer's eyes, the one that is going to be accusing him, and lie. And he doesn't think that he can do that in a successful way, in a successful manner. So he really doesn't want to go to court, but the lawyer managed to convince him. So Henry is going. He's not happy about it. He thinks that he's going to lose the case, and everybody's going to find out that he lied and he knew where the will was this entire time. In the meantime, he keeps telling himself, you did nothing wrong. You know where the will is, but you did nothing wrong. So that's where I'm at. I'm about to start chapter 15. Cousin Henry makes another attempt. That's the title of the chapter. But for now, I'm going to stop for a little bit. I'm going to make myself a sandwich and then I'll pick it up again. I don't know if I'll finish it today or tomorrow, but I'm still going to count it as my attempt to take part in Victober. So it's time to wrap up this vlog. It is Wednesday, so I went back to work. My cat is whining. I went back to work today after a long weekend. It's always difficult, but it was actually my, I don't know, not easy day, but less busy than usual. I got home like an hour ago, less than an hour ago, and I finished Cousin Henry by Anthony Trollope. I really wanted to have finished it yesterday, but unfortunately I was way too tired and I had to wake up early today, so I decided to finish it today. I'm really happy that I read this book. I really enjoyed it. It is my first book by Anthony Trollope. Like I said in the beginning, it is not the type of classic that is just overly complex. It takes you a while to get used to the language and the structure of the sentences, and the story itself can be very dense. It is nothing like that. Very, very easy to follow. A very, very interesting story, but at the same time, it just holds your attention, you know? It just holds your attention in a way that is just almost impossible to put it down. Yesterday, I literally read like most of the book yesterday. I had like 30 pages left for today. This is an inner struggle because Cousin Henry knew what he had to do. He knew what was the right thing to do. Come clean. If you don't want to tell them that you knew where the will was, he could have always tried to say that, oh, I just found it. But try and do it right away. And he knew that, and he was postponing it every single day. Like every day he said, I'm going to do this, and then he wouldn't. And we are familiar to this inner struggle. This is not new to us. I think that we all had that moment in which we said, I'm going to do this, and then when the time comes, don't do it. Even very simple things, just like, I don't know, doing an essay. I'm going to start it today. I'm going to start it today. And then the day comes and that moment comes and you say, well, maybe tomorrow. I also love the fact that he was literally struggling with himself. I think Cousin Henry is actually a very complex character. And I really liked getting to know him. It was a little bit cringe having to sit and see him suffering like that. It's just, okay, can you just pick one and do it? It was actually embarrassing, secondhand embarrassment. But at the same time, it was so interesting to see how it would develop. But still, we get to the end, and I'm sure that I've mentioned that I didn't understand exactly why he was so disliked. Because the only thing that's mentioned about him is that when he was a child, he used to lie a lot. As a young adult, he had a lot of debt, and his uncle Jones ended up paying for most of it. He was so disliked. And you get to the end, and even the lawyer, Mr. Apjohn, who was the one that actually, was able to understand this whole net of issues and got him to confess that he knew the will was there. But at the same time, because he felt sorry for him, was able to help him get away from having to deal with justice. Even the lawyer says that, he felt sorry for him because, he's an awkward guy. He strikes me as being a very awkward guy, doesn't really know what he wants. Like, he first sees himself as being the owner, the rich guy now, I have a title on everything. And then a few hours later, he is being so consumed by the guilt that he just wants to go back to London and go to his office and work in his office as a clerk, and he doesn't want like an insurance clerk, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, an insurance clerk. He just wants to work at the office there. Please don't bother me. Let me just do my work. But then a few hours later, oh, why not? Let me just be rich and be here, and everybody has to accept it. He was a very awkward fellow, and it was hard for him to really understand what he wanted, because I do believe that he wanted to be perceived as someone strong enough that someone who could hold on to this title of being a squire and had to be respected. Like every tenant had to respect him, every servant had to respect him, and he couldn't do it. So when he couldn't do it, he was forcing it, and that's when people started to dislike him even more. Obviously, this doesn't help his character now that people know that the will was hidden. Even though they tried to make it sound as if they found it by accident, no one was actually believing that, and then he just left and went back to London, so he doesn't have to think about it. He doesn't have to see anyone, and people don't have to, follow him, stalk him down the streets, calling him names. I really liked this struggle. I also liked Uncle Jones's struggle with following society standards, because even the lawyer, Mr. Apjohn, he says towards the end, he's talking to Isabel, and he says that he mistook it. He did not understand the root of that idea of a male heir. The object has seemed to keep the old family and the old adherences and the old acres together. England owes much to the manner in which this has been done, and the custom as to a male heir has availed much in the doing of it. But in this case, in sticking to the custom, he would have lost the spirit, and as far as he was concerned, would have gone against the practice which he wished to perpetuate. So even Apjohn understands that he wanted to do what he thought it was like socially accepted, socially seen as being the correct thing to do, which is to have a male heir. But at the same time, he says, your uncle didn't understand what was the purpose of having a male heir. A male heir was the idea that, the family would stick together. In this case, he's a nephew that was never present, and Isabel had been there for years, taking care of him, getting to know the tenants and the servants, and actually having a relationship with them. She was respected. That makes a lot more sense than having to have a male heir just because. So he sort of lost the spirit of it. He didn't understand the spirit of having a male heir. What was the purpose of it? It's not just to say that you have a male heir. There's a purpose. And we actually end knowing that Isabel will get married with Mr. Owen. And the lawyer actually says, I'm sure you'll have children, and you should entail your oldest child. So that's interesting, because that was the spirit of having a male heir. I understand wanting to do things one way because your heart is telling you to do it, but at the same time, following society's rules, society's norms, what is expected from you. I understand the struggle. I understand the reasoning. And with that said, obviously, by the same token, I also understand Isabel's struggle. The plot of the story is actually three people struggling internally with something, with themselves, but with something else. So Uncle Jones is struggling because he doesn't know if he should follow his heart or his role in society. Cousin Henry is struggling because he knows he has to do the right thing, come clean, but at the same time, he wants to be respected, he wants to be someone, he wants to have people around him, he wants to have a title, he doesn't want to be known as the lesser cousin. I think there's a great deal of maybe not jealousy, but maybe jealousy at the same time towards Isabel, because She was there, she knew everything, she was giving him advice on how he should not behave, but how he should manage things. Even the servants were telling him, you need to go out and meet with your tenants, and he wasn't doing any of it. He didn't want to have people to tell him what to do. He wanted to be just good at it without even trying, without, making mistakes. So you have that one. And then you have Isabel struggling with her marriage proposal. Thankfully, by the end of it, Isabel was very quick in deciding what to do with regards to the marriage. So, happy ending. I was very surprised. I really enjoyed the book. I don't know if I'll film more in-depth book review because, I think I've talked about a lot of it here, but maybe I wasn't so, let's say, consistent with my thoughts because I just finished this like a minute ago, and I'm here trying to be coherent in my speech. So I might think about reviewing this book, just a normal sit-down video reviewing it, or maybe not. Let me know. Well, let me know what you think. Let me know if this is enough. Tons of spoilers as always, but I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoy vlogging this experience. I really hope you enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much for watching, for being here. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye.